Welcome to the Dreams by Any Means Motivation Station. I'm your host, Ed Doxson. Today I got my brother here. This is a very special guest, and I say that every episode, right? But it's for many reasons. But for one reason, for the people that's been listening to the podcast, that tune in, at the beginning of a podcast, there's a voice that you'll hear, and it's somebody saying, glad I could be there for you, all that type of stuff. You know the beginning of the intro if y'all listen. But that's Greg, who's in the beginning of the intro talking. That's actually a voice memo that he sent me in, was that 2015? I graduated 2015. And I remember, we were just reflecting on my senior year, tough times that I was going through. He was there for me. I've been able to be there for him and all those different type of things. But Greg is I would say an amazing person, somebody that I really value as a friend. Us meeting at college, it changed my life because he was able to show me what leadership meant. And I say that because we'll get into it through this conversation. But, I remember when Greg first came to Dell State, like you a total different person from when you first came there. So it was like, I just also learned through like having that brother relationship with you, like through patience, through letting people figure out things for themselves, and also just leading by example. So I'm happy to have you here on the show today, bro. We're going to jump into a lot of stuff. I think you got a great story that can inspire a lot of people, not only from our city, but man, this whole country that come from environments and backgrounds that you come from. So man, just start off telling people about yourself, where you from and all that.
You already told them my name, Greg, and everything. I'm from Ward 8, DC, Southeast DC, Washington View Apartments to be exact. I went to Delaware State University. That's where I met y'all. My man Taco, he behind the camera. Y'all can't see him. But met both of y'all at DSU. I graduated from Thurgood Marshall Public Charter School right there by Anacostia Station. For those of y'all who know where that's at. Went to school, went to Delaware, graduated with a major in accounting, minors in finance and economics. And yeah, I mean, that's what I got for y'all. Like, that's the little background right there.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned in that background, like you saying, being from Ward 8, those who listen that's not from DC, that may not be familiar with Ward 8. Ward 8 is not a walk in the park. And it's not even just in DC. Like, statistics show that Ward 8 is one of the most, I would say, high-level poverty areas in the country. One of the most areas in the country that has the highest unemployment rate, gun violence, whatever it's talking about. So share some of the challenges that you experienced growing up in Ward 8, Eastern River, DC.
Growing up in Ward 8, you definitely face a lot of challenges just overall. Just even today when I tell people I'm from Ward 8, they be looking like, really? Like, like you from there? Like you're a product of that? So it's like society already kind of just counts you out if you from being a black man in America already. Like the American society kind of already you already got the short end of the stick. Mm-hmm. But then it's like one of those places where like if you hear people say they from Baton Rouge or like Chirac or something, like people already kind of looking at you a certain way.
Right.
So that's one thing. And then like it's a food desert in Ward 8. Like we had the Safeway on Alabama Avenue for like the longest time. That was the only grocery store, one grocery store. They just put a giant up there recently. So now we got 2 grocery stores. Just like from small stuff like that you don't even think about be disadvantaged to like a lot of the recreation centers. Like when I was growing up, we had Douglas Recreation Center, now it's KIPP. Mm-hmm. But like a lot of kids don't got recreation centers now. So it's like just a lot of resources you just don't have. And then like just with the gun violence and everything that affect households, I was fortunate enough growing up that I had both parents in my household, and played a big role in my life, like just reflecting on things. Because a lot of my peers didn't, and I mean a lot of the kids still don't have 2 parents in the household, and that's going to put them at a disadvantage right there as well. So I mean that's a lot of like just growing up in Ward 8. I mean it's violence everywhere. You see growing up we used to bid on like the boat heads and whatnot, head PCP users or whatever. Like you saw them everywhere. You saw crack trains everywhere. Literally shit like you see in the movies where it's like a kid who got
getting killed in high school.
People bringing guns to high school, getting shot up in high school, whatever. After school, you got to worry about people you argue with at school. They probably called their peoples or whatever. You got to make it home. Then it's just so much going up in Ward 8, man. Like it's really like the movies, like when you got a 10-year-old taking care of 2 little brothers and a little sister because mom's got to work 3-4 minimum wage jobs to make ends meet. Yeah. So, a lot of kids, including myself to a degree, you don't get to be a kid,
Right.
One of the first people I lost that was like my friend was Michael Swan. And I was in like 4th grade coming home from Moulton and heard that he had died. And we call him Jughead. But yeah, so like
And he was in the 4th grade too.
no. I was in the 4th grade,
was,
coming from Moulton Elementary School, coming from 4th grade to go home. He had to be like in like 7th or something, so like
that's
2-3 years older. Right. So like, and I'm like what 4th grade? I'm like what 10 or something, you know? And I'm like, damn, like somebody killed my friend, you know? So it's like off the rip, like. My innocence in childhood kind of at that moment was kind of shattered a bit. So
yeah, bro, and it's like it's so like key that you say that, because when I was having an interview a couple days ago, I was telling people how like when growing up, like after a while I thought killing your friends was like, I mean, your friends getting killed was normal. Like I thought that was a thing, but then once I grew and started to travel places, meet people with different backgrounds, I'm like, nah, this is not supposed to be this, especially for a kid. If you like my thing, I always tell people, I say my biggest thing is that once I have kids, if they lose any friends at a young age, it needs to be to a car accident or something like that. But
not natural car.
Yeah, like not to with that. But you know, experiencing that, like you just said, you couldn't be a kid. So would you say like that was the moment where you felt like your just perspective or like your view on like your community, your life, or the world kind of like altered from that?
Nah, I wouldn't say it was that death. I'd say what kind of really was like a life altering moment, like for just my view on everything, was when Gary died. Gary Thomas Golden Jr. He died in 2011, if I'm not mistaken. And Gary was just one of those people who like he grew up in Ward 82, Ward 8 product, but he was like me before me, if you will. Like he was that one who everybody looked at as like, man, he gonna make it. He a good guy. He ain't never done no wrong to nobody for no reason. Like this guy, he went to church. He's come from a church going family. Like I done seen people done broke into his house, and he found out who broke into his house. This what really kind of shaped some of my mentality, if you will. But I remember like it was around Christmas time, and somebody broke in his house or whatever. He found out who it was, and like I'm on the basketball court, and I'm like I see both of them like walking towards each other, and I'm like, oh shit, here we go. Yeah. But like Gary, when he got up on him, he really just asked him like, bro, why you breaking my house? Like you could have asked me for whatever you needed, and I would have gave it to you. Right. And I'm just like, we like teenagers at this time, and I'm like, damn, like that's not anything that I thought was about to happen. I'm like, somebody about to get beat up, somebody about to get shot, somebody about to get stabbed, you know. But he really just kept it at that, and they be still cool after, like talked it out as man, whatever the case may be, and like nobody, it was no harm, no foul on that. And I don't know, at first, like that's just one instance that I just always kind of look back on, like, and I'm like, damn, like that was pretty mature, like, you know, like that was different, like, that ain't what you would think. So, but then like, and when somebody like that died, like, you know, somebody broke in this house, ain't even physically harmed. It kind of make you.
I'm still like, it kind of make you feel like if Gary could get hit, anybody could get hit.
Anybody could get hit. He was just doing good. And it's funny how like life worked, divine order, and all that. Like I used to go to Jefferson Junior High School, so like I had to walk to Anacostia Station. He would be walking to Anacostia High School or whatever. Okay. So long story short, we walked the same route to school for like 3 years. 2 years I was in junior high school, and then he died my 9th grade year in high school. So we never walked to school though, and I used to pick his sister up to walk to school when he was going to junior high and everything, and we never walked together. March 18th, 2011, we walked to school for the first time, and that was the last time because he died March 20th. So we walked to school on that Friday, he died that Sunday. And I was about to hook school too. We get right there to the little intersection, but like I could go to Thurgood or you know, or whatever. And I was telling him, I'm like, man, I died. I'm like, bro, I'm about to go up to Man. I'm about to go fuck with Martin Twan, whatever the case may be. Yeah. And he was like, nah, bro, like just go to school, bro. You ain't gonna miss nothing. Like it ain't nothing. It ain't nothing around there for niggas like me or you, bro. Like just go to school, bro. Yeah, and I went to school, and that was the last kind of thing he told me. And that's what made me go to college too, because he was big on going to college. He was about to graduate, go to. He got accepted to like multiple colleges. And that's like the last thing I remember him telling me. He's like, just go to school, bro. Ain't nothing out. So that kind of made me go to college too. So
that's crazy. Like that's crazy as shit, because I know like when me and you connected, it was like we had differences, but we also had similar, like it was similar morals, it was similar upbringing, whatever. But that's the same story with Ryan, bro. Like the last time I seen Ryan, that was the convo we had. He like, bro, get out of here, bro. Like go to school. He like, come back, bro. Come get me in the range, bro. I be here, bro. You know, go do your thing. That was the last convo. Like that's why he's always been a motivating factor for like me to be successful. Because like we was talking about before we started rolling the camera, like I believe like God talked to you through people. And like that's crazy, bro. But like that's the last convo we had, bro. That shit like changed my life. Wow. So you know, being in that environment, it sounded like you know you were impacted in different ways, but you navigated because you're still here. So like being in a physical environment like that, how were you able to kind of mentally like escape? While I know you probably also still was dealing with like, you know, some of the influence and pressures from your environment, but like, how was you able to kind of like become your own man like during that time?
I mean, I'd say a lot of it falls back on something I mentioned earlier about like the 2-parent household.
Yeah.
Because my parents was always in my ear, like, you know, don't compare yourself to others. You know, your life is your life. Just because they got this and that, you don't know what they did to get this and that. So just my parents been in my ear, like raising me instead of just like something I've realized is a lot of people parents like tolerate them to a degree instead of like raise them, or like they want to be friends with them instead of be a parent.
Yeah.
So like my parents was parents, and people used to like beg like, oh, your parents strict, you can't go nowhere, you can't do it. Like early on anyway, but I mean I'm grateful for it now.
Yeah.
But then like also just being able to think for myself, like I was always smart, so like I was able to put 2 and 2 together. So like it don't like if you was to touch a stove and it burn you, I'm not the one who was like, oh, he touched it in the wrong spot. So or I could do it this way. Or you know, I didn't feel like I was special in that regard. Like if you could touch a stove and get burnt, I can too. So why the fuck would I risk it and touch it? You know, so like applying that to like just the environment is like, all right, y'all want to sit up here and, you know, beef with everybody for no reason or whatever, or, you know, the case may be, and now y'all, you know, being victims getting shot up or whatever, or you getting locked up, or, you know, or maybe you're not even a victim, maybe you the perpetrator, but you know, you got to look over your back all the time or whatever. So it's like, I just learned, like, I always thought of Greg first and not like my neighborhood first. Like people be like, I'm from this neighborhood, and that's like their very first identity factor. Right. My first identity factor was I'm me, I'm my own man, and like I ain't about getting all these beefs unnecessarily. Like if I'm out and about with my man and something going on, it's like I'm a man. I'm not about to sit right there and be like, oh, I ain't got nothing to do with that beef. It's like, no, I'm out with my friend. You're not about to do nothing to him. I'm right here. You can catch him tomorrow when I'm not with him, but you ain't about like, you know. And I mean, it's been.
So like you ain't looking for trouble, but you
I'm not looking
yourself,
for trouble, but I'm gonna defend myself basically. Like, just being a man. Like, I ain't gotta like everybody want to be steppers or shooters or the tough guys. Like, bro, if you a man first, whatever else come with it. Like, ain't no man. I can't call you a man if you up there letting people slap you out or just do anything to you. You know, so it's like it's just a little small little things like that that kind of like just help me out through life. Like,
and that's it's you know key to hear you say, like you said, you identified as yourself first instead of your neighborhood, because I think a lot of people get deep into like the neighborhoods, or like, you know, we don't have gangs in DC, but like gangs in other cities because they trying to find themselves, or they want to be identified with this gang based on their rep, or this neighborhood or this crew based on their rep. But like you said, being a man, I've experienced it if it's dropping you off around your way, picking you up, whatever, but like they love you around there. So like, you know, you kind of going that route, and you know, I would say, you know, going that route to be successful, doing different things, but still having that love. Like many people, I'm sure you deal with survivor's remorse. So how do you like handle that? You know, just handle survivor's remorse.
I say like I'm human, you know, so like I have my moments where it's like I'm proud that I'm where I'm at, or, you know, I'm doing what I'm doing, but then there'd be other times where like I get in deep thought about the plenty of people I done lost through time. It's like, damn, like why am I like me and Twan, we shared dreams, we was both in the Chivas, we both was on the same route, like how I end up here and he gone, or, you know, it'd be stuff like that. But ultimately I don't know, I guess I learned to like, and I think this happened with Gary, started with Gary too. Like I committed, like he told me to go to school. He wanted to go to college and graduate. So I started like just take on his own dreams. Like, bro, you ain't gonna die in vain. Like so many people die in vain as is. Like I was like, I'm gonna just do some good shit in your name. You know, like do great things in your name. And that's how I'm keeping your name alive, like by doing good shit. So I started to like use that mentality towards other people's, you know, demise too, or, you know, when they leave the earth or whatever. I just be like, man, you know, if we shared our dreams or whatever, anything good they kind of wanted to do with themselves, I try to make it happen and be like, you know, at moments like this, I could give them, pay homage, you know, keep their name alive. Like that was done in their honor. So I think that's kind of how I deal with survivor's remorse a bit, is like put a goal to that person, and once I accomplish it, it's like that was for you, bro. Like, you know, so.
Yeah, and that's how you really, you know, put on, like they say, put on for your man or put on for your hood or whatever. Did you have anybody you looked up to when you was growing up? I mean, outside of like, you know, besides, well, if it was somebody in your household, but I'm saying like outside the household, was somebody in the neighborhood that you ever looked up to?
I mean, of course, looked up to my parents or whatever, but like in my neighborhood, I mean, as a youngin', like my older brother, really, I mean, like he's not in my household. He lived across the street, but he wasn't in my household. Like we had different mothers. But I mean, like, yeah, when I was younger, I was, fantasized by the street shit and whatnot. So, like, my parents would try to keep, my family would try to keep a lot of info away from me. But once I got a little older and I found out who my brother was or whatever, and like how everybody else, respect him because he did this and that, I was like, damn, I could be like, bro, like, I could, be that guy or whatever. So I'd say him to a degree. But then, like, once I kind of got out of, like, the streets on everything, I wouldn't say I had any, like, specific role model. No, I just knew, like, the man I envisioned myself to be and kind of what I wanted for myself. So I, like, go after that. Like, I guess you could say any black man who was making it in the world really, was like a role model to a degree. But
right, and then that was going to transition to my next question. Like, you went to Thurgood Marshall, a school that has a great reputation in the city. Through the academics, through their mentoring, through all these different programs. So, although that is a great school, I mean, it's still right down the street from your neighborhood. So I'm sure, you still was dealing with stuff, outside of there or inside the school. But like, what role did Thurgood play in your development, like as a student and a man?
Man, as a student, Thurgood got me hella scholarships. I basically went to DSU on a full ride. Yeah. And I mean, one of the scholarships programs still pay off till this day. I sit on the board for that scholarship program now. Solid. But yeah, Thurgood definitely. I remember my first day walking in there. This lady, Miss Pardo, she was the dean at the time. As soon as I walked in there, she like, your name Greg, yada yada yada. I'm like, yeah. And she was like, I'm gonna put you on the honors course. And I was like, for what? Like, I don't like, she put me on the honors course. And then, lo and behold, like 2 years down the road, when I'm a junior, I was kind of a little knucklehead in the school or whatever, giving people teachers problems and whatnot. But she advocated for me to get that scholarship I was just talking about, but I sit on the board now. So once I actually graduated college and I went back, Mr. Mitchell, he let me know. He was like, Greg, I didn't like you when you was here. And I ain't even want you to get that scholarship you got. But Miss Pardo, she vouched for you. She said it's going to change his life. And I mean, it did. And yeah, she knew something. But then, like, as a man, how did it change me? I just kind of had to, think for myself. Because, like, growing up in my neighborhood, everybody went to Anacostia or everybody went up to Dunbar. So, like, of course, I wanted to go to Ann or Dunbar. Like, all my friends go there.
Dunbar was our neighborhood school?
Nah, it just so happened to be that everybody, people just migrated there for whatever reason. Gotcha. So, like, I was trying to get my mother, like, man, send me to Ann and send me to Dunbar. She was like, no, you just want to go there because your friends there. You can go to Thurgood, yada, yada, yada. And then, I mean, honestly, everybody got put out of Anacostia after a month because they got in a big fight with, another neighborhood or whatever the case may be. And everybody got put out. And just looking back on things, too, that was a kind of divine, God thing right there too. Because I was really pressing, like, send me that, send me that. Right. And everybody got put out a month later. They had to go to like Luke Seymour or whatever. And a lot of them end up not getting a diploma or just life. We went down different paths. So it's like that was I could have been right there expelled and not in Thurgood getting no scholarships. Wouldn't know either y'all wouldn't probably be where I'm at right now. So that's how I say like Thurgood played a good role. Yeah.
Yeah, so Thurgood and what I mentioned beginning, us meeting at Dale State. Let's transition to Dale State, man. Let's talk about your transition to college. I know when you share the story, me is always funny, but like just you would tell when you got to campus how it was just so foreign, like the way people was moving and acting. So talk about your transition from Ward 8 to Delaware State.
I definitely felt a lot of people. It's been common with a lot of DC people too, not just me, but like I remember getting up Delaware State. And like once I started like going to class or whatever, people like, oh, where you from? I'm from DC, and that's when people like really be like trying to be your friend. Like when you just walk past people smiling at you, just talking and just being civilians, being nice people, genuinely want to know you. Mm-hmm. But then from DC, I'm just looking at everybody like, what's y'all angle? Like, fuck y'all trying to backdoor me? Like y'all trying to set me up? Like people don't just be friendly for no reason. Like what's the angle here? But like people literally was just civilians, not from no crazy environments, but it's like you're interesting to them, like and then like people, we 18, 19, people walking around in suits, you walking around in a suit, people holding these positions, then it's kind of like a black excellence thing to it too, and then it was just a different feel for community. And then like even like in high school or just DCPS, because I went to mostly DCPS until I went to Thurgood, which is a charter school, but like you always had class clowns and shit, or like the cool kid is the kid who like disruptive, or like that go hard kid or whatever. But like what you got up there was like, man, everybody looking at you crazy if you've been in class clown in class. Like people up there for business, people trying to get shit done, So Yeah, it was definitely foreign, but it was definitely worth every moment up there. So, yeah.
No. Dale State was. I mean, I think we all that went there can say like it helped us in so many ways. When you got there though, what was your? I would say, what did you enjoy the most after you got through the transition and realizing like, all right, this is a place of learning, development, success. Like, what did you start enjoying the most?
Honestly, the people, like just the environment, like.
Network.
Yeah, the network and the environment. Like a lot of people, I wouldn't say college for everybody as far as like the classroom. Some people just not academic kind of people. But the environment, I say that's for everybody. Like, because you get up there and like you meet all these people from different places. Like, I remember getting to DSU. I met some people from like North Philly, and the shit I thought was just in my neighborhood. They going through the same thing, you know.
Yeah.
Or whether it was from New York, whether it was somebody from Cali, somebody from fucking Georgia, Mississippi, whatever.
Yeah.
Like the stuff that you would think only happen on your block or in your city is universal. It's not just you, you know. So I'd say that was like a very defining moment. Like, damn, like that's happened down in Mississippi. That's happening in Georgia, you know.
And I had that same moment. It kind of was. And sorry to cut you off, but like it kind of was a moment for me where it made me feel like more secure and comfortable. Meaning that like I'm like, okay, these people from different places, but they just dress different, sound different, listen to different music, but like they done lost best friends, they done seen the crackheads, the bowheads, they done seen the neighborhood beats. They might have had what we didn't have, the gangs, you know what I mean? But it's like it's the same similar struggle. So at that point I felt like, man, we all here to go be great. Like we gotta hold each other up, pull each other up, so we don't go back there and become a statistic or do the same thing. So I definitely feel that, bro. That was real. But coming out of Dale State and going into the so-called real world, man. I remember when I graduated, I used to be hitting you back up. I'm out Vegas, and I'm like, yeah, man. I'm like, gee, don't rush to graduate, bro. You like, man, I'm ready to get out of there, But once you got out of there, I've seen it. You took off. So talk about your transition, man, from the neighborhood to college to corporate America to sitting on boards and nonprofits to speaking at graduations. Talk about that transition.
All right, so I graduated DSU 2018. Then, like, no less than a month later, I was interning at Deloitte.
Mm-hmm.
Then after Deloitte, went to Booz Allen, and now I'm at a different company.
Hey, real quick, I'm gonna stop. Did y'all just hear what he said? Deloitte. Anybody that doesn't know, if you work for Deloitte, you're good. Like that's like and I ain't even speaking just because I'm working like HR and study HR, but like that brand alone is like when you talk about workforce. It's only maybe 2 or 3 that's up there with that, but that's like a heavy brand. So shout out, congrats to that, bro.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
But so yeah, went to Deloitte, then went to Booz Allen. Now I'm at where I'm at. But I don't know, it just felt good to be able to give back. Like I went back to my family. They all definitely be letting me know. Like my nephew just recently texted me and was like, I'm gonna be the black Bill, not a science guy. I was like, oh yeah, do that. That's what you want to do. Right. And I mean, it went from him wanting to be an accountant, or he want to be the black Bill, the next black Bill, not a science guy, whatever. I'm supporting it all. And he always let me know. Like I remember when I first went to college, before I even went, I'm letting them know, like, yeah, y'all not gonna see me for a minute. I'm going to college, and they was like, you going to college? So that means I could go to college when I'm your age, And it's just funny, like to see the progression as time went on. Like they really still, like my nephew here in 8th grade, he always let me know, like, man, I made honor roll, Uncle G. Like I'm gonna get scholarship stuff. I'm gonna be able to go to college, So I know it's impacting him. I know it's impacted other kids too. Like, and I try to like give everybody advice. Like even if they don't go to college, it's like I be giving out investment advice to people, stock advice, crypto advice, and I mean some of my young men they recently like made stock accounts or crypto accounts, so I know it's kind of sinking into them now. Like I always just be trying to get people to see the bigger picture before it's too late.
So having this position in your family now, being someone that the nephews and nieces, cousins may look up to. As I mentioned, like I said, I've seen it. I know your neighborhood looks up to you as well. So in a sense, I know many people consider you what they call a neighborhood hero. How does that pressure feel, like in a good and a bad way? Because there's a lot of pressure that does come with that when like everybody is looking at you as like the example.
I mean, for me personally, I wouldn't say it's much pressure. I guess I don't internalize that. I just like live my life. So it's like I just genuinely go through life and think for myself and do what I do. So it's like if that inspires you or whatnot, if you're watching or whatever, like that's cool. If not, that's cool too. So I wouldn't say it's no pressure, but like I do try to limit my time in environments or being in situations where like police might snatch you up, or you could be at the wrong place, wrong time, and that's the end of your story right there. So like, I definitely try to limit my time outside and just being around. Because I know like my nephews mainly, those are the ones who I really care about them looking. They got somebody to look up to. Because growing up, I didn't have that good role model, like who was close, who was tangible. Like kids, you look at Michael Jordan, LeBron James, athletes or what have you, but like I don't got their number to call them and ask them anything, So it's like I always think about that whenever like I'm realizing like, oh, I've been outside too long, or about to make a dumb decision or something. Like that kind of crossed my mind a bit. So yeah, and then like I don't know, just making my parents proud was big to me too. So like I knew that I used to always, even as a kid, like I think like, man, if I get locked up for whatever the case may be, it's like, how the fuck am I gonna explain this to my parents? Like my parents were like, you dumbass, like like we done, so it was just like, and granted, I wasn't like spoiled, I ain't like like I ain't come from no money or nothing, but like I came from a lot of love, so it's like they did what parents were supposed to do. So.
You ain't want to let them down. Yeah, and I think it's so key. Like just having a conversation with a lot of men that work in the community, we always talk about that. Like if you leave out that house and you feel like you don't have nothing to represent, it's going to reflect in your behavior. Like, and I always felt the same way. If I thought I was going to get in trouble, I wasn't even thinking about policing it. I'm thinking about my pops. Like, I do not want this dude to find out this happened, because you know what I'm saying. It ain't even just about the discipline, but the disappointment that I know was going to put in him, and I ain't want that.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a real thing. And like, I remember one time, like as a kid, my father was locked up. They said he was like in college or something, but like he was locked up, college, whatever. But I remember I started to wild out a little bit too, though, because it was like when I be in school, they be like, "Yeah, we gonna call Mr. Jackson." I used to be like, "Nah, like hold up." But like they was like, "Yeah, call your mother." I used to be like, "Oh, what you want to know?" Like I got it. Like I could call her for you.
Gonna take me to McDonald's after this.
So yeah, definitely the discipline part and just the disappointment factor was there. So yeah.
Yeah. So I know you said your brother was an inspiration to you, but you said maybe not in the most positive way. So I know you said he influenced you in certain ways, but like you taking this path and being your own man, how has that impacted y'all relationship? Meaning that it's like the little brother kind of becomes a big brother, not just by age, but it's like by experience.
Yeah. Well, something I didn't hit on was that he was looked at in the neighborhood as a certain way, but he also went to college too. He went to Mount St. Mary's or something in the mountains in Maryland. But he only did 1 year because then he got his girlfriend pregnant with my nephew. So he, being the man that he was like, I'm not about to be in school and I'm the breadwinner. I need to help my kid. And my dad wasn't the best dad to him. So like he wanted to be the best dad to his kids, So that's how that went. But like, so he was an inspiration in multiple ways. But like once he went to college, and that's once he locked up. Because when he came up from college, he probably spent like 3 months like out of school, and then he got locked up for a murder, him and my cousin. But ultimately, they sat for like 4 years and beat it. But they innocent, you feel me? So they beat the charge. But like I remember him being locked up, and he'd call me. He'd be like, "Man, yeah, I heard you been acting up, yada yada yada. Like, don't do that. You don't want to be here where I'm at, or." And whenever I did good stuff, he'd call and be like, "Man, I heard you, did good in school. Like, you need to keep doing that, do that." And I don't know, that shaped me too, because like a lot of people don't have these. A lot of kids didn't have like the older guys, and that's a problem with our generation right now. Like a lot of older guys. I remember growing up, I'd be like 10 years old trying to hang out after dark or hang with everybody. Or when my brother got locked up, especially, I was hanging out more. And the older people in my neighborhood would be like, "Man, if your brother was home, you wouldn't be out here. They beat my body and all that. Like, man, go in the house, bro." Like some of them would actually take me in the house, like like y'all are too, So but we don't got that nowadays. I mean, you beat some of these youngins body, they might shoot you the next day or something, But yeah, we definitely had a great relationship. And then like once when he got out, he stayed in the house for a little bit because he wanted to get back accustomed to things. He was a little institutionalized, so he didn't want nobody to say the wrong thing. He ended up right back in there. But his first time really out, he came to my high school graduation, and I don't know. It was just like he let me know now, and it's funny because he went to school for accounting. I never even knew. So once I went to college, he was like, "What you going to college for?" I was like, "I'm going for accounting." He was like, "Man, that's all right, man. Little brother picked up my dream, man." So he kind of living his dream for me a little bit. But yeah, man, we got a great relationship, and he definitely happy that like his kids, my nephews that I be talking about, the ones who look up to me when we build our science guy, those his kids. So and like I'm the only sibling he got on his father's side, and on his mother's side he got other ones, but like I'm the good uncle basically. I'm the one who kind of active in their life and like giving them a good role model. So I mean, you know, so I'm paying it forward, I guess, you know. So our relationship good though.
No, that's solid. That's solid, bro. And like you mentioned earlier, you know, just saying like the neighborhood's not having the older guys or having people that, you know, hold the younger people accountable or looking out for their man, little brother, little sister. So as we know it, like it's no secret here in the city. City is a history of violence, but I feel like lately, since COVID started, I think it's just been more. It's been crazier. But in a sense, man, through like the robberies, the shootings, the road rage, people getting road rage and getting killing. You know, what's your perspective on the violence in DC? Like, do you think it's going to ever stop? And I'm asking you too, and I think your opinion is so valuable because you come from the heart of it. It's 8 wars in DC, but we all know Ward 8 is the heart of where a lot of this stuff has happened over the past decades.
Short answer, will the violence ever stop? No. Short answer, like, will it ever be 0 murders in DC? No, or any city, really, probably not. But I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into that. Like, I don't think it'll necessarily ever get right back to like early 90s where we was flirting with 500 murders a year, you know. But I mean, it's so much to dissect with
so deep, right?
Why the violence is how it is. I mean, like I said earlier, Ward 8 was a food desert, you know, so it's like we don't have the best food to, you know, get your body the right nutrients and get the right energy. I remember growing up, I had both parents and I was always kind of smart. So like I'd be getting good grades and stuff, and like people would find I got good grades and they'd be like, "Oh, you a nerd or something." But then that's when people could see the other side, and it's like, "Oh no, G will fuck you up though." Like, you know, so like I always kind of had a dual perception on life. Like I was cool with the nerds, I was cool with the cool guys, I was cool with the gangsters in school, whatever. So it's like, or you know, hood guy, whatever. But yeah, as far as the violence though, I don't know. It's just so many factors, man. So many parents just, like I said, been friends with their kids. Like, I mean, I see so many kids be 2-3 years old cursing, and their parents be like,
and laughing,
just bidding with them, not like correcting them. And then you got like parents who smoke with their kids. Not saying that that's necessarily the worst thing you could do, because it's like, I mean, I've heard some parents be like, I mean, you're gonna smoke anyway, so I'd rather trust you smoking with me instead of going out here getting some fentanyl laced weed, though. You know. So I mean, I can see different angles on some stuff, and then like you mentioned about with COVID, the violence kind of picking up. I honestly, in my humble opinion, it's like I've seen a lot of people touch some money during COVID that they never touched before, and now that money is gone, but they had got a taste of taking trips. They got a taste of the lifestyle of having thousands of dollars to do whatever it is you want to do and have fun. But now it's like back to reality, you know. But they got that taste, so it's like they hungry for that again, you know. So I think that does play a factor in like why a lot of robberies, as you mentioned, and all that is up during COVID, because motherfuckers had $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, and you know that's not the case no more. So like they want to get that back.
Money. That ain't no money.
Not realizing that's no money too, and they want to get it back, but they never had 10 at one point, whatever. Like, so I think that's a factor, and then it's just like the music, you know, like.
Yeah, bro. I'm glad you just said that, because I always hated that growing up, but after I became an adult, I'm like, nah, this does have a type of influence, because even me as an adult, not saying that I'm listening to some music, I'm influenced to go slide, but like if I want to play I got certain music I play to work out to. It's gonna get me pumped up.
What you like.
I got certain music I play before an interview. I got certain music I play if I'm chilling with a lady. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like it's different things. So music does influence you, but I'm going to continue. But I agree. The music is something.
Nah, definitely the music play a role. Like people be, you know, Pooh Shiesty back in blood. Now, like whenever something happened to somebody, everybody like, you know, it could have been the smallest thing. Somebody could have took $5 from you, and it's like, I mean, it depends on how they take it too. Because as a man, like, you're not about to just strong on me for $5. I think that, you know. Yeah. But like, if you stole, I let you in my house, you stole $5 off the dresser. It's like, cool. You cut yourself off over $5. Like, you done. Like, I'm glad you showed me who you are with $5. But then it's like some people who don't have my mentality, or they might do, but they easily influence. They cut them off too. That's when they might, somebody might be like, oh, they stole $5 from me. You gotta go get that back in blood. Like, and they really, now they feel away. Like, you know, like, I'm not pussy. Like the little meme, like, am I pussy? I'm not pussy, you know? So, I mean, I think the music, some of the lyrics, like, some people don't, a lot of people have identity crisis and don't necessarily know who they are. So, like, some people, like, we try to live these rapper lifestyles, or, you know? And then the crazy thing is, like, who said it in a song? Wild Wave said it in this song. He was like, Jeezy told us trap or die, but he told his kids to go to college. It's like a lot of kids be following these images, not even knowing that
it's
these artists it's entertainment. They're paid to do this. And what's crazy too, a lot of like these record labels, when they know that their artist makes that violent type of music, they take out life insurance policies on it.
Oh yeah, and they gonna push.
And they gonna cash out on it. Like I don't know too many country artists, Adele, Beyonce, whatever, like different R&B. I'm not sure if they get life insurance policies taken out on them, or they're not the ones really dying. You don't hit too many of them getting murdered or whatever. So, and then it's divine order too. Like your words are powerful. So like the stuff that you speak and you listen to, like it can attract that shit into your life. Like,
and what a lot of people would say in response to when we talk about the music influencing the youth, they'll say, the music can't be made if this stuff isn't going on in the streets. So they're pretty much saying, like, so for example, whoever the artists are, I'm not gonna name artists, but like artists that may have drill music, whatever type of music that people say promote violence. When somebody that's maybe in Reston, Virginia, or like suburban area hears that, they not gonna be like, oh, we about to go to Reston and go, rob the accounting people. But like where we come from is like when they say that line or when they say that song, name of that song, it might click because you might have just seen that last week, or you might know that this could happen.
No, yeah, you might relate for sure. So the music do play a role, and then like I don't know, like when you get around different people, like you said, people in Reston or Tyson's or whatever, they don't even listen to hip hop, rap or whatever. Like you go over there, you be like, you heard that new Wild Way? They're like, who is that?
Yeah.
When you heard that new whatever, like, yeah, who is that? So it's like, I mean, I'm not gonna say the music because I mean I listen to it, but I'm not no saint, or in my past life I wasn't no saint anyway. I'm not even a saint now, but I was definitely more rough on the edges as a kid. But like, I was always able to just think for myself. So like, the music don't make nobody do nothing, but it can influence for sure. Like, or just, I mean, then there's some frequencies. Like I haven't looked into it, but apparently, certain music tunes and instruments give certain frequencies which trigger something in the mind.
I can believe it, bro.
Because I mean, I can't like.
It's certain songs that like I put note like just get me in like a jam. Like I be in the gym wilding out when I play. So I got a playlist of gym music. Like Back in Blood is one of them gym songs.
It gets you hyped. So like. It gets you hyped for the workout, or like if you already got,
or to really work out,
or to really work out. Like if you already got some little issue, like you hear that song, you might like that might be that little extra push. You needed to like go do whatever you was about to, you was thinking about doing or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So but I mean it's more factors of course than just the music, but I think it plays a factor. Like a lot of music we listen to don't got no substance. Like it ain't
or
talking
the ones
about
that got substance, they not promoted.
Yeah, like that's why I like Wild Wave a lot. Like I'm a big Wild Wave fan.
He
talked about like.
Remember I told you I ain't like Wild Wave,
man.
But it's because of like you probably know this. I think you sent to this. I just don't like being on with everybody on. No, so when the wave came, I was just like, bro, like I'm playing, I'm gassing, cause then this what happened. I was going through a tough time, and I let his CD play. I was like, man, I almost had tears in my eyes by the time I got the track started.
Now, for real, talking about shit with substance, like, and he can't really be replaced. I mean, I know we kind of going on subject, but like, he said it in his interview, like, he got the replay value and he can't be replaced because, like, you could plug and pop and whatever. Like King Von died, and you could plug and pop another drill artist, right? You can't plug and pop no Wild Wave, like.
Only other person I watched the interview the other day. I don't know if you ever used to tap into Derez De'Shon.
Yeah,
he the only. He ain't Wild Wave, but he's the only person that I could say had that. I don't even call it trap soul type thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that boy Wild Wave, he different, bro. I played it one time. I was going through. I said, "No, I see what everybody like."
Rod different, bro. He different. But yeah.
So. But I'm thinking about a question earlier I asked you about mentally escaping an environment that you're physically placed in. Now you being an adult, and now physically, not living in the neighborhood that you raised in no more, living away from that. How has that been? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how's the really leaving the neighborhood been for you? Like leaving for good? Like, ain't like I'm going to college, coming home for breaks. Yeah. Like, no, I'm gone.
I mean, it's different, but it's cool. It's like, I don't know. It's definitely been mentally more healthy because like you don't got look over your shoulder necessarily, or like you could release it. Like you don't gotta be in like defense mode at all times. You feel me? Like you could be a civilian to a degree, or whatever the case may be. So like I don't know. They're just like I said, Ward was a food desert or whatnot. Like it's a Hurst Teeter's and walking distance. It's a Trader Joe's walking. So like you get those different. You get different resources, man. Like there's so many gyms around here. Just so much good schools, whatever the case may be. So like just mentally, I don't know. Mentally, it just you kind of get to just free up some stuff. I don't know how to explain it, but like
I feel you, bro.
When you're in the hood, you can't just like
you gotta be on point. Even if you're not doing nothing wrong, you still gotta be aware.
And then like the police, even like I could wear what I'm wearing right now, and I'm out here and walking, and police won't, bother me at all. But punches ain't really hurt me or whatever. I guess the one who was hitting me, he ain't really kirk out. So I'm acting like it hurt though. So it's like you don't really try to hurt me, whatever. But yeah, jump outs used to be wild, man. Like. But that's just growing up in the hood, like that.
And that's what's crazy that like that stuff we thought was normal, but it's like
it's not though. But
and that brings me to like I was going into that next question, like how you just described living out here and it just being a totally different environment. One day I know you'll have a son, you'll have a daughter. Like, what do you want for your kids, like upbringing? Like, what do you want them to experience? Because like you done experienced, I would say a very challenging upbringing, but now you are now in position, not just physically, but through career, through mindset, through starting your businesses to really get them a whole different life that you never had.
I want them to like have a similar upbringing to me. Really, probably not like losing as many friends to violence and whatnot. But like, I definitely want them to understand it's two worlds. Like I don't want to raise my kid up to be completely green. Where it's like I've been around some super wealthy, kids from super wealthy backgrounds, and it's like they go through one little hardship and they damn near suicidal. It's like, but like, have you experienced life? Like it's worse stuff than, like I can't even explain. It'd be just small stuff like, oh, your mom didn't buy you a car for your sweet 16, like you ready to, off yourself. It's like, bro, I ain't get no car till I was goddamn 24 or something. It's like so. I don't know, just stuff like that. So I definitely got plans on like even if I'm not in the hood, my kids gonna be spending time at their aunt house or something. They not balance. Yeah, they gonna see
and that awareness to know like know that disposition you got, be grateful.
Be grateful for it, and also like just your like it'll save you in life. Like you won't be so oblivious to like I can just walk down this street or these. You just not gonna be oblivious.
How to walk down the street, like what I mean. Like I tell people all the time, I think DC's prepared me to go anywhere.
Yeah,
because it's smaller here, it's faster here, it's a whole different type of breed of people that come from here. So when I've been living in different places, I'm like, man, it's my mother always says, like, how do you adjust so quick? I'm like, Mom, it's like coming from DC, come in like, great, you'd have been down to Pompano. How I met Joe at the store. I'm just walking in the store. But like you mentioned earlier, I think I'm the same way. I can judge character, like observe energy, like real quick. Like, man, him just locked in since then. So, yeah, bro, I think it's key for any kid to always have exposure in different areas. My mom told me at a young age, she was like, you have to be a chameleon. So you got to be able to adapt to anything and everything, but at the same time, you still be yourself.
Yeah.
Ain't like you got to change
it's hard to it's hard to perfect that really, like know how to code switch when necessary or like, not lose yourself in the code switching
awesome. Too. At work, I'm saying stuff you never thought you would say.
Or like, what I say? It do be them little phrases though. Where like I might type something like, yeah, can you do this? And I'd be like, I don't know what I say. I can't even think right now. But like, I just type something. I'm like, damn, like
I said,
yeah, I just said that, like, but yeah, so yeah.
But that's a key example of human behavior in a social environment. Like your behavior gets impacted by the environment you're around. And when I was at Dell State, that was my favorite class in social work, bro. Like that class, it was 2 parts. That class really changed my life because everything made sense after a while. I made sense of like, oh, this is why such and such became a shooter. This is why such and such became a doctor. Like just showing that like your environment is going to affect your behavior. Like you'll see someone maybe come from an environment and they may go to an environment that they're not used to and they might just be mute. Because they may not know how to adjust. So, you know what I mean? So, like, yeah, it's key for a lot of, especially us, black men, black women, that really had that skill. Because we underrepresented everywhere we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, what's next for G, man? Like, what's coming up next? Like, we just talked about the job and everything, but what's next for you?
What's next? Starting some of my own businesses to bring in, like, get that financial freedom, really. My man Taco behind the camera, we got T-Mag Investments going on.
Okay.
That hasn't really took off completely yet, but we taking, like, too many people investments and everything. But you're just putting out a lot of businesses and just progressing in my career, too. I might take the CPA exam, might get that.
Solid.
It's funny how, like, networking work, because I recently was at, like, this networking event with the scholarship program I was talking about. So it's a lot of billionaires in there, millionaires, CEOs of this company, that company, whatever. And one dude, he walked up to me who I knew from previous times. He was like, man, tell me something good. And I was like, I'm at this, this new company that I left Booz Allen. He's like, oh, that's good. Tell me something else good. I was like, I'm thinking about like studying for the CPA exam again, starting that back up, and like he lit up and he was like, man, once you get that, let me know. I got a position for you right now. You making more than 150? I was like, nah. He was like, I got a position for you. I was like, you know, so
I gotta get my CPA.
Yeah. So that might be on the horizon.
Solid,
but yeah, just continue to go through life and see where life take me, you know.
Yeah, bro. And it's like I've you know, the other day I text you randomly, like you was just on my mind, and I just wanted to give you flowers, but I also want to give you flowers on here, bro. Like when I say I'm extremely proud of you, bro, like I'm extremely proud of you. I would be lying right now if I was to say that, you know, when we first met early, if I didn't think it was gonna be one day I was gonna get a call about you, or one day I was gonna see you on the TV. And it wasn't like, you know, I wasn't getting all in your business, but like I'm pulling up on you. I'm knowing the things that go on in your neighborhood. I'm seeing things that's going on. I'm coming to get you. Shootings going on and all that. So I definitely always had in mind, like I was like, I know he's gonna be good, but I'm like, I just hope he don't get in a situation, you know, where he, you know, it's too late. So man, seeing you go through that, bro, seeing you navigate through the toughest time that any man can navigate through. We talked about that on my balcony. You know, we said like that was be our biggest nightmare. And you got through that nightmare, seeing where you at today, bro. I'm proud of you, fool. Like, and I'm honored just to be your friend, be your man, bro, and just watch, you know, witness it. Even if we ain't texting, like we ain't checking in, like I'm always watching, bro. Like I'm always watching. I'm laughing on the close friends and stuff you put up there. I'm seeing the motivation. I'm seeing all that, fool. So like, this was like really good to bring you on here, bro, because like you mean a lot to me, bro, and I'm always gonna be in your corner, fool.
Appreciate you, bro.
1,000.
And it's definitely likewise. It's definitely likewise on a lot of. And I mean, you played a major role too. Like, I was supposed to. I should have mentioned this earlier when you was asking about DSU stuff. But like, you was a role model too when I got up DSU because like you was already cool. I knew you from DC, and like I could see that you could hold your own. It's just you kind of showed me a little bit about being on Man Time too. Like, you ain't got to be no, you know, super hood, gangster guy, whatever. To like be a man, you know.
I was suited and booted every day.
Yeah, and I don't know, that inspired me a bit. I'm like, damn, these niggas walk around in suits, but you know, they cool. Like they not no nerds, they not no squares, you know, whatever the case may be. So you definitely played a role in, you know, this transition or who you see right now. So that's for sure. Yeah.
But man, I appreciate you, bro. Definitely gonna bring you back on here. Y'all see this nice background we got here, so we definitely probably be back here like 4 more times. But man, this was Dreams by Any Means episode. I haven't decided what I'm gonna title this episode yet. I got a couple in mind, but I don't know. First it was gonna be Chasing 26 Dreams, your IG handle. That was gonna be the first one, but we talked about so much. Once I play it back, I figure out what to call it, bro. But also before we leave, I always tell people, man, drop your social handles so people can follow you, stay up to everything that you got going on there. Once those businesses and everything get to roll, people know where to find you at.
But my Instagram is @Chasing26Dreams. Everything spelled properly. And that's really the only social media I'm really active on. So yeah.
All right, man. Appreciate you, bro.
Sure enough.
All right, man.